Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. If you're coming back from another one of my book videos, then you know that this background is new. My dad has built in some more shelves for me, so actually I'm really happy about it. I do have some more empty space over there, but I have books all filled up on this side. I do have books filled up on that side, but today we are doing what I have read in February. I think I'm gonna go ahead and get started with the books that I ended up not finishing for my TBR. To start off, I am going to say the first one because I do not have it physically with me right now. It's down in my backpack and I don't want to go get it. But the first book that I did not read, or I am currently reading like right now, I just didn't have time to finish it in February, is The 7-Year Slip. And I actually am really liking it right now. Like I feel so called out by, I feel called out. I don't know how else to really explain that. I just really called out by how the characters act or are. But I am really enjoying it. It's looking like it's either going to be like a 4 to 5 stars for now. I am only like 100 pages in because I've been busy. Like I have ACT stuff coming up. So yeah, but I did not finish that one. Well, I'm going to be, but I haven't finished it in time for February. And if I do finish it before this video goes up, then I will definitely make sure to leave my opinions about it in the video before I post it. But if I do finish it after, then it will probably just go into my March reading wrap up. The next book that I did not read from my February TBR was The Hunger Games. I did really want to read this. Like I have annotated some of it from when I last started reading it, but like I just did not find motivation. Recently I've been more in the mood for audiobooks than I have been in the mood for like reading physically. And most of these books that I had on my February TBR, I didn't like, there was no audiobooks available. Like I don't do any subscriptions, at least not right now. I just use Libby, and if it's not available on Libby, then I kind of just give up on it. So that's really it for that. The next book that I did not read that was on my TBR for February was Redeeming 6. Now I want you to hear me out because I do really want to read the rest of the series and soon. But like I said, like I feel like in the month of February I've had a lot going on and my motivation for stuff kind of went, and then I just did not have motivation to read this, and it's a pretty big chunk of a book. I did not have the motivation to pick up a chunky book that's also really depressing. When my motivation goes down, that's usually like a tall tale sign of when my mental health is gonna go down. And what's hard about that is like motivation can go down without your mental health going down. So like with my motivation going down, it's got me scared, and so I didn't want to read this and risk bringing my mental health down. So I just decided to skip out on this one. But yeah, next on the TBR for books I did not finish on my February TBR is Shatter. Now I did really want to read this one. Like I literally like found room in my TBR for this book because I really wanted to read it because I want to get into the series because I know it's popular. But like again, there was no audiobook, and it's one that I definitely do want to read physically just in case like I do end up loving it, so that way I could annotate if I needed to. But like I did not have the motivation. I did not have the motivation for picking up a physical book. I just wanted audiobooks kind of this month. So, and next on the list is Scythe, and I do really want to read this one too. This one seems like such a fun read, and I picked this one up specifically because my friend's friend that I've been getting to know really likes this series, and I wanted to read it so I could talk to her about it, but it just didn't end up happening. So okay, for the first book that I had read in February was Saving Six by Chloe Walsh. Okay, this one technically did not happen in February, but I did finish it after I had made my TBR video, and so I'm going to just include it. I had finished this January 29th, and I had said that if I finished this, then Redeeming Six would be on my February TBR, so I wanted to include it since it technically was the reason that Redeeming Six was on my February TBR, so I did want to include this. Basically, Saving Six is about a boy named Joey and his like childhood crush turned lover. He basically is the protector of all of his siblings due to his older brother leaving the household, and in the first two books, Shannon and Johnny, yes, Johnny, are the two that you are following, but in this book you get to see Joey's perspective on everything, and I don't really think I can say much more than that. But you get to see basically Joey's struggles with different things, and then how, I've already forgotten how to say her name, Aoife. Basically how Aoife handles that. It's technically like forbidden romance, as you can see. It's pretty tabbed up. I reread Finding 13 and Keeping 13 last month to tab them, and then I read this one this month, and then that kind of just drained me, I guess. So I just wanted to include this one, even though it technically wasn't in February. I felt like it should be included. The next one on the books that I have read in February, This Song Is Not For You by Laura Nolan. How do I explain this book? Basically, Sam and Ramona are two of the main characters, and you start off with them. Sam and Ramona have been friends for a long time, and they both kind of like each other, and they end up having this band. And when they are auditioning for some sort of music school, I can't remember what exactly it was, they were auditioning for a music school and they met Tom, and they eventually invite Tom into this band that they're in, and Ramona starts falling for Tom too, and then it goes from there. They realize like they have to rethink on what they want their career path to be, how they want their life to be, and then they figure out a relationship on how to make it work where Ramona likes both of them. And then there's also some themes of, I think it's asexuality. Yeah, he doesn't like that. So yeah. The next book that I had read in February was Daughter of the Pirate King by Teresa Levenseller. I'm sorry. Basically, I had finished this February 10th of this year, obviously. I finished this February 10th. It is basically about the daughter of the Pirate King. There's a Pirate King, and she's his daughter, and she comes up with a ploy in order to get captured by, I guess, kind of like their enemies, in hopes to find a piece of a map to lead them to some sort of siren treasure thing. And she has to figure out how to find this map while being held pretty much being held prisoner. And she ends, like, her biggest, I guess, block in the road is Raiden, who is one of the sons of their enemy, her dad's enemy. And he constantly is, like, obviously trying to stop her. he doesn't know what exactly she's doing because she didn't necessarily fight a lot. So he kind of starts to get suspicious, and she has to find this bit of the map. Next on the list is Meet Cute Diary by Emery Lee. I had finished this February 10th too. I listened to the audiobook book of it. Basically it is about, what's his name? It is basically about Noah, and he runs this blog talking about meet cutes for trans people, I believe is what it was. It was just trans people. And he would talk about meet cutes for different trans people that were all make-believe and all fiction, but his followers of the blog thought that these were all true. And he eventually someone starts to expose him, and he finds another guy who is willing to go on these dates with him to make them seem or appear real, since he needed proof that they were real so he wouldn't get, like, I guess canceled, because yeah, so he wouldn't get canceled. All I'm gonna say is that it's like the ending, like what ends up happening wasn't what I was expecting at all. Like, I feel like it kind of hit me out of the blue. Next on our list we have Wanderlost by Jen Malone, which I honestly first thought of like Post Malone when I had read her last name for the first time. But I finished this February 12th. It's about Aubrey. She accidentally gets her sister arrested for throwing a party, and her sister gets arrested, and her sister is not allowed to leave the state, but she had this tour of Europe that she had to run for some like an elderly group, and this was supposed to help her sister Elizabeth get into more politics stuff. And so Elizabeth tells Aubrey that Aubrey should go and pretend to be Elizabeth and complete this tour. And so Elizabeth makes Aubrey a huge book of what she needs and then sends her on her way, but Aubrey ends up losing all of that, and she has to figure out how to guide this tour throughout Europe to this elderly thing and try not to ruin Elizabeth's career. And then she meets Sam, who originally is just someone she met on the phone. He helps with tour stuff, but he eventually comes on the tour and he helps her along, and they slowly start to develop feelings for each other. And so she has to navigate that as well, because she doesn't, like, he's falling in love with Elizabeth, but she's not Elizabeth. Next we have The True Love Experiment by Christina Lauren. I had finished this on February 16th. I'm not sure really how to explain this one, to be quite frank with you. Basically, what's his name? Basically, Connor is this filmmaker. He normally does documentaries, but recently the place that he works decided to do something different, and they wanted him to make a dating show. They wanted him to just his boss wanted him to make a reality TV show, which obviously, like, isn't what he's used to, because he makes documentaries most of the time. And he ends up meeting Felicity, and she is a romance author, and he decides to invite her onto this dating show, but they quickly realize that they have feelings for each other, and he has to watch her cycle through all of these men. And at the end of this dating show, the audience will pick who they think she should be with, but they keep falling deeper and deeper into their feelings for each other. And so they have to figure out how they're gonna do this. Like, they can't have this relationship, but they also do really, really like each other, and so they have to navigate that. Next we have Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney. This one I finished February 17th. Okay, so Daisy and her family, as well as this boy named Connor, are all invited to, I believe it's her grandmother, if I'm getting it right. It's her grandmother's house, and she's basically giving out, not necessarily giving out her inheritance, but she's telling them how her will is set up, and they are all pretty much being snobs about it because they wanted more or something else than what they got. And then later that night, the grandma is found dead, and they have to figure out who did it, whether it was the boy named Connor or if it was one of the family members. But then one by one, more of the family members start dying, and they have to figure out who's killing them. And that's really all I can say about that one. Next one we have is One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston, and I finished this one February 19th. This is about a girl, I want to say her name's, August, and she has moved to New York. She's very minimalist. She moves to New York and gets some new roommates. And one day when she is going on the subway, she meets this mysterious girl, and she's like really likes her at first, and then she keeps seeing the girl on the subway, and she's always like wearing the same clothes. She seems really stuck back in time almost. She ends up figuring out that Jane is stuck in this timeline, but she's from like the past. She's from like, I want to say it's the 70s. She's like from the 70s, but she's stuck in the time period that August is in now, and she has to figure out how to get Jane back into her regular time period. I think that's really all I can say about that. Next we have Over My Dead Body by Sweeney Boo. This is a graphic novel. I finished this February 23rd. This is a graphic novel about witches. Basically, what's her name? Abby, it's kind of like Hogwarts, kind of a Hogwartsy thing, and Abby is mentoring another student, I believe, and that student goes missing, and they cannot figure out where she went. Like, there hasn't been much of a search, and in this universe, I guess, they are connected to an animal. So if the animal is dead, that means that the person is dead. And they found her animal, but they could not find her, and so they have to keep searching. And Abby's really dedicated to searching, while the people who run the school don't seem to be as invested as finding her friend as Abby is. And so Abby kind of takes it upon herself, and then she uncovers a lot of weird details. And yeah, that's really all I can say about that one too. Next we have Cross the Line by Simone Sultani, I believe is how you would say it. I had finished this one on February 26th. It basically follows Willow and Dev. Dev is a Formula One race car driver, and he's currently under some controversy due to his last social media manager spreading some rumors about him. And Willow is an aspiring, like, kind of a reporter / social media manager for Formula One. And Dev is Willow's brother's best friend, and Dev basically has his manager on his butt about this whole controversy. And so in a split-second decision, he decides to hire Willow to be his social media manager, but that he isn't sure that that's going to be a great idea after all, because they had shared a kiss a while back, and feelings are still there for each other, but they can't because of Willow's brother. Their spark continues to grow throughout the book, and yeah, that's really all I can say. Anyways, I believe that is it for what I had read in February. I didn't end up like, I realized after it was already too late, that I had not said ratings. So I do have like pictures that I'm gonna pop up, and I will just put like my rating written down under that so that you can kind of take a look at that. But yeah, I think that's really it for this video. There wasn't like a whole ton. I read 10 books in February, which isn't all that far off from what I usually read. And I did go off of my TBR. 4 of them were not in my original TBR. Oh, you know what? I was counting. No, I read 9 books this month if you're not counting Saving 6. So 4 of them were not from my TBR. 5 of them were from my TBR. And then Saving 6 is just there. But anyways, that's really it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Yeah, that's all I can really say. Bye.